Hello, my name is Joanne McAlpine. I'm a social media consultant, and this is your introduction to social media. Social media, what do you use it for? Networking. Social media goes hand in hand with face-to-face networking. It is not to replace face-to-face networking. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine who's a professional networker goes to networking events, and he went to one where there was a group of them talking, and one person said to another person, not to him, "Oh, I saw your son won the Little League. That's great." And he was thinking, how did his friend know that? And he realized it's because he's on social media and the other friend had posted it. So they had something to talk about, and it made networking a lot easier. So that's one way you can use social media in your networking. I have also met some friends on social media and met afterwards, which was a lot of fun. And there are other people who I know on social media who I've never met. So it is possible, but I find it works best hand in hand with face-to-face networking. Return on investment. There's some controversy about determining the return on the investment. The best way I look at it is where is your traffic coming from? Where does most of it come from? Is it positive traffic? Is it negative traffic? And that's where I look at your return on investment. And if you have an online store, does that traffic make a complete transaction? How many does that come from social media? Cost. A lot of people will say it doesn't cost anything. Yes, it does. It costs your time, and time is money. Branding, you want to make sure you get your brand out there. You're putting your face forward on social media. The way people look at your business is the way you portray it on social media as well as offline. Social media mayhem. So how do you decide what social media platform to go on? Well, here's a few tips. There always seems to be a new social media platform. Reserve your name. Whether you decide to go on the social media platform or not, reserve your name, because your name is, you don't want somebody else picking up your name, or if you decide you want to go on that social media platform later on, you can pick up that name. So reserve your name on as many platforms as you can think of. It's not for your intern or a college student or a high school student. They're putting your brand out there. Does this intern or this college student represent your brand? If so, then go ahead. But otherwise, make sure they are representing your brand. I would suggest if you're thinking of going with an intern, go with one with a marketing background. Keep it positive. You probably know by now, anytime you put anything negative, it comes out 100 times worse when you put it in text. So keep it positive. And if you're angry, walk away. Come back 24 hours later. Or if you're not sure, check with someone else and see how negative they think it's coming across. Twitter. So I'm going to go over a few of the big platforms that is used primarily. Twitter. More posts, the better. There's, of course, limits on Twitter, and you could check out my intro to Twitter on the YouTube channel or at broadcastingbiz.blogspot.com. But the basic overview is the more posts, the better, because you get your face out there and people see it and more likely to drive traffic to your site. Interaction. It's not all about putting links about you. The best way to deal with Twitter is to interact with other people, talk to other people on Twitter. Twitter's considered the cocktail party, so you have a little mingling here and there. Retweet other people's stuff. And then share. I like it when people ask questions so I can respond to them better, but you can respond to them other ways. The typical Twitter post is a title and a link. If I like the link, the title usually has to grab me, but if I like the link, I will post back, oh, isn't that interesting? And then you want to put up posts about your business, of course, but make sure it's a mixture. If you have put just your stuff, then people think they're being sold to. Followers. Who do you follow and where do you get followers? Basically, especially when you're starting out, to get followers, you want to follow other people. There's a controversy between quantity versus quality. Do you want to get as many as you want, or do you want to get people in your target group? You could start out with getting quantity and then work your way towards quality. That's kind of how I worked, mainly because it was hard for me to find my target group. But once I started getting people in and I started to see who I wanted to follow, I would go onto their web page, onto their Twitter page, and follow who they were following, because they were most likely my Twitter, my target group. So it's something to think about. Lists and Hootsuite. I learned Twitter by using Hootsuite, and it's the only. Anytime I tell anyone to go on Twitter, make sure they go on Hootsuite as well. You create these lists, and the lists show up on Hootsuite. That's why I'm bringing up the lists. And the lists are groups of followers or people you're following. And for instance, I have a list of my tweeters. These are people who I've met face to face and will tweet each other and chat with each other a little bit more. I'm most likely to get a response out of them, and they'll get a response out of me. So I like to keep them in touch with them. I also have a list of people in my area. I also have a list of bloggers, and you can keep your list private or public so other people can follow it as well. Private means only you get to see it. And then in Hootsuite, you can look at these lists all at once. I think that you can have up to 4 on a screen, 4 or 5. And then in Hootsuite, you can also schedule tweets, which is really valuable, especially if you're going out of town. And you can see who's mentioned you, who's used your Twitter handle in their post, which is handy because you want to say thank you, or you know this person's a good tweeter, so you'll go back to them. Facebook. Facebook is the house party. There's more interaction, more in-depth conversation. One thing I find that small businesses have difficulty realizing is that you have a personal page before you can get your business page. If you want to use that personal page for your business contacts, that's fine. But just realize you need the personal page before you get the business page, unless you're a big corporation, which I'm guessing that's not who I'm reaching here. Anyway, if you have a personal page, and you will get business people who they've met on your business page and they want to be friends with you on your personal page. I would make a decision up front now. Do you really want to do that? I did it and got a little messy. I don't like doing it anymore. Privacy. There's 2 aspects of privacy. Does Facebook respect your privacy, and how can you control privacy? Does Facebook respect your privacy? This is your business. You want to get your name out there, so it's okay to get your name out there for your business particularly. And I think Google Plus is a lot worse than Facebook when it comes to privacy. My philosophy also is anything that you put, this is what I tell my kids, is anything that you put online is there permanently. Just think of it that way. And as we discussed earlier, if you're angry, walk away and come back to it later, because, you know, you don't want to go down that road. You don't want to be angry when you're on social media. It's best to avoid it. Everybody sees it. As for privacy on who you want to contact, you can have lists on Facebook that controls who sees what. I still am of the philosophy that if you put it out there, I've heard of too many mistakes of people putting something out there and they didn't want this person to see it, but they did, or it's shared by somebody on your list and they eventually got to see it. So just remember, anything you put on Facebook is there permanently. 2 to 3 posts a day. Unlike Twitter, you only want to be a couple of posts up a day. And if you put more than that, people start to get annoyed because they go onto Facebook to really see their friends, most people, if they're not in business. So if they start seeing your stuff a lot, they might get annoyed and unlike you or unfollow you. The only exception to this rule I find is if you're in the weight loss business or fitness business, because people on Facebook just love that. I'm just amazed by it, but there's something else to consider. In order to start getting statistics for Facebook, you need at least 30 likes. So that should be your first goal when you start up on Facebook. One other thing, I would not use Facebook as your homepage. I've heard a lot of business owners, well, Facebook will be my web page instead of me getting a web page. I would discourage that because not everyone is on Facebook. A lot of people are, but a lot of people are not. Facebook groups. Groups are more controlled, more monitored. You need to join them. I have one called Potomac Valley Social Media Group. They help each other get interaction on their different social media platforms. You're welcome to join, but there are rules, and you need to follow the rules because it is monitored. I'm part of another one called Virtual 5K. And they meet every 3 to 4. They go online and they support each other in trying to run mainly their first 5K. Some of them have been there a little bit longer, and they support each other in the journey. And then on the day of the event, they take pictures of them running and such. So it's a lot of fun. Pinterest. Pinterest is I see it as a visual search engine. You type something in and they'll give you a bunch of pictures of what the topic you typed in. It's kind of neat. I like it. It's, to me, the guilty pleasure of social media. Who's benefiting? People who rely on imagery. Etsy, last I heard, is the biggest users of Pinterest, and I find mostly women are on Pinterest. I find infographics do very well on Pinterest. Yeah. And take your own pictures. Of course, you can pin other people's pictures. However, I'll give you an example what I mean. I took a picture of my garden when I was blogging, and I pinned it on Pinterest, and it got 12 pins within a week, which was astonishing to me. Those pins, as you click on the picture, will eventually go back to the original source, which was my blog, so that was exciting. I think most people who go on Pinterest like the pictures more than seeing where it came from, unless it's a how-to. But keep in mind, when you are using pictures, social media legality is really just new, so you don't know where it's going to go. Just like Napster, they started to look at the people who were violating it rather than the companies itself. So keep that in mind for your protection for your business. YouTube and Vimeo. I use mostly YouTube. One example of YouTube in business is Blendtec, which is a blender, and they did a series of videos where they blended all sorts of things to show the power of the Blendtec, and that included like soda can, a sneaker, and other stuff. I want to say tire, but I don't remember. But it did very well, and they sold their blenders. People believed in the blender after that. So that's an example of how you can show a demonstration. So you teach something that will last a very long time on YouTube, because people are look to YouTube a lot for how-tos. No talking heads. I have done a few talking heads if you go to my YouTube site, and it's they do not do as well as the other videos. Talking heads, you got to think of it this way. When you're using video, you're doing action, and just seeing someone talking, And you could have done a podcast, or B, just put a picture and a podcast up. So use the power of the video. I started interviewing a small business owner, and she had a shop. So I started videotaping the shop, and I taped her and put the shop pictures while she was talking over it. So try to mix it up like that if you can. For your business, like I said, you can demonstrate your product, you can train employees, and you can teach something that is related to your business. Planning. So go with what you are comfortable with. Pick a social media platform that you feel comfortable with and practice that one for a while and see how it goes. And when you feel comfortable, move on to the next one. Plan out what you want to do. Planning it out will help you save time as well as setting a timer. Just an FYI tip. Planning, I'll give you an example of planning it out. Valentine's Day, 2 weeks beforehand, you can put up a Pinterest board of all things red and pink and Valentine me and cute. And then you could take a picture of, say, a dozen red roses and put that as your Facebook board, or you cover page, or Google Plus cover page, and you can tweet about all this, and then maybe you can make a Valentine's Day craft that you put up on Vimeo or YouTube. And then again, a tweet about this, and you can do 2 sets of these for 2 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day. Look for more videos. Go to broadcastingbiz.blogspot.com. If you want to join a social media networking group, you can try Potomac Valley Social Media Networking Group. And then you can reach me at info@broadcastingsunny.com. I hope this was helpful for you.